wondering what brought you in to see me today.
Well, I've been a little stressed at work, and I was trying to think why, right? I was bouncing around in my brain for a little while, like, what's going on? So, a couple factors, right? I think had some play into it, right? So, beginning of May, working with a really difficult client, right? Trying to find ways to support them. And, not wanting to do more than they're willing to do, but seeing that this client needed a lot of support, right? Just basically everything broke down. No housing, right? Mental illness. Didn't know them very well, right? So it was hard to find how to support them. And I ended up staying at the shelter. And unfortunately, some things happened that, we never wish happened to anybody, right? But things do happen. So there's a lot of weight on me. And then my manager was like, even though our program's voluntary, so it's the youth, right? Like, it's up to them if they want to be. It's like, oh, we can't let anything more happen to this girl. And that just added more pressure to me, right? And it's a new manager, so I didn't really respond like, well, we don't do everything for our youth. It's kind of our program, right? But I didn't say it at the moment. And she's like, well, you know most about this youth, so if they have to call 911 on the weekends, like, you should be on call for them. It's not something we do on our job. But I was never able to let this go. Like, I was worried that I was not doing the right thing for this youth because, there's other issues as well, right? For what was going on with their case. And then as well at work, I found a small team, manager, me and another colleague. We've worked together for over a decade. Really good relationship, right? Get along. And we're in the wider team, 8 all total. There's been a lot more sitting around and gossiping about other programs, which I find deficient talk, right? There was nothing inspiring, and I noticed it was starting to affect me, right? That we're talking about all these other programs that we work with, but we're talking about them in negative ways, and I was like, okay, this is doing my head in a bit, so remove myself, right? I'm not going to go sit up there when they're doing their little chatting, right? Well, all that did was really remove myself from feeling as part of the team, right? And then wondering, oh, are they talking about, and I felt like they were talking about things that wasn't including me, and even discussing, clients of mine, like the struggling client, and coming to me and talking about it. I didn't realize at first, I was like, why am I feeling this? I'm feeling left out. It's like, I was kind of feeling like a third wheel a little bit. I was like, well, part of that is what I did, trying to remove myself from listening to the gossip, because I know it does my head in, right? Without really telling them why. They didn't ask either, though. Like, yeah, you're not hanging out in the common area with us that much anymore, right? And maybe, I think, partly it's because they knew I was dealing with this tough client, right? So it was just in my head, right? So it was almost like a little bit of nobody really reaching out to say, hey, how you doing, Greg? The manager did a couple times, like, I know she's struggling. I was like, and at that time, I was like, yeah, like, I'm feeling the weight of this client, and I did mention, I feel like there's a lot of negative talk, right, going on about lots of stuff, right? Not just our programs, but the world, right? Like, there's the whole U.S., Supreme Court stuff, people were talking about as well, right? Plus, I work in a Black community I work with, Black people, right? So we were always talking about systemic racism and, what's going on, right, in our systems, which I don't mind on with that because we need to, but it's like all the other talk about the other programs, right, that we work with, that we use, that we refer people to, and it's like, I need to be inspired at work, and we're just talking shit about everything, right? Like, how am I supposed to want to do stuff if we're just saying everything sucks? So it took me a while to figure out, okay, that's why I'm feeling like I've gone through this, and I was unwilling to talk to them about it because the team is so small, and I was worried their reaction to saying I'm feeling like a third wheel, right? I'm feeling like you guys aren't including me, right? And I came to that conclusion about a week before this program started. I was like, this is not the time to tell them that. Just before I go away for a month, which then would give them a month to talk about me when I'm not there. So I was like, this is my plan when I go back to work, even though they'll be on vacation when I go back to work. So it'll be, but yeah, I'm trying to prepare myself to have this conversation with my small team and then maybe the other people too. Like, hey, this is just how I've been feeling, right? And I've been scared of that, right? Because a very good relationship with my colleague, right? Me and her work together a lot. And I don't want to ruin that. or I don't, not ruin it, but I don't want to do anything that, that'll affect it in ways that might, not keep us as cohesive as we've been, right, for years, right, in this program. So, the new manager, I don't know her that well. So I feel she'll be receptive, but I've been scared, nervous, anxious to breach this subject with them, and I felt like, okay, I am going to do it when I go back, but that could change, right? Like, no, things are feeling pretty copacetic, maybe I just won't say anything, and so I'm still battling with that. Maybe it'll just go away, right? Like, maybe I don't need to say anything. So I'm not sure.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've got quite a bit of sort of stuff going on with this job, and what I'm hearing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're very passionate about your job.
I would agree with that, right? And people do recognize that I care, right? So, right, and I want to do the best job possible, and I want to be the best colleague possible, right? There are times when I will put my needs aside to make the path easier for all, right? I recognize that. And sometimes sometimes I can be fine with that, like, I can take this, right? I can handle that. But this part, I noticed it was affecting me. It was affecting my work, right? Because I wondered in a way I didn't have youth reaching out to ask for support. I'm like, am I giving off a vibe like that I am not able to give support right now because of what I was going through? And then so youth were reaching out, and they're like, you're leaving in 2 weeks, Greg. How come you're not meeting with your youth to set them up for the month of July? I'm like, well, they're not reaching back out to me. There's not much I can do. I'm trying, right? And so part of me wondered, was I letting that seep into my other work, right, with other clients, right?
So you've spoken a lot about what people think about your job, and you've spoken a lot about what your boss perceives of you. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a new manager, right? So just started September, and I think part of it is I feel that my other colleague and her are connecting at a deeper level than I am, right? And that's part of that third wheel. Like the manager, they'll have phone calls, right? Whereas the manager's not calling me, right? So that they're chatting more, and I'm okay. I understand I need to be okay. Like people are gonna have different relationships, but I was feeling a bit like, okay, I'm not as connected here, right? And a couple group programming we did,